Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeremy Estes, and I'm here with Jeremy Nickel. You get the two Jeremys from bucket.io today. Jeremy, are
How's
you
it
there?
going?
There he is. There he is. So what we're going to do today, this is a very specific training call. We're going to talk about Zapier integration. Um, what we're going to do is, like I said, it's going to take us about anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour. We're just going to go dive deep. We're going to try to take as many questions as we can on this call. If you've had any issues getting your account set up, and we've got something special for you too. Um, once we kind of go through everything, and you've had a chance to look at how to set up Zapier, we're going to do we're going to send you guys a link to get on a one-on-one call if you still need it, right? So I'm going to walk you through setting up Zapier. We'll probably get a lot of the problems out of the way on this call, but if there's something specific, like if you want to go dive deeper into your email service provider, we'll give you that opportunity at the end. After Q&A, we'll send out a link, and you can jump on our schedule. There's not a ton of spots on there, but there are some, right? And so we'll make sure that if you still really need the help and support, we'll jump on a call with you and walk you through it. So what's going to happen on this call? Like I said, I'm gonna show some basic stuff and make sure you just know where everything's at. If you have any questions, just put them in the chat, and Mr. Nickel will be kind of watching it and taking the questions. And then if I'm moving too quickly, or if the same question starts being asked about a certain process, we'll stop. Otherwise, we're just going to push through, get to the Q&A, and we can ask and answer everyone's questions. So can everybody hear me real quick? Can we just get a yes, I hear you, yes, I see you kind of thing? Jeremy, can you let me know if they're responding?
You bet. We have one yes so far, two yeses.
Sweet!
Yep. Think we're good.
Cool. Well, then let us dive into this thing. So the big objective here is, first of all, just to understand how to connect bucket.io to your Zapier account, and more importantly, how to just kind of understand like how this is all working, like what data is being sent, how can you control what information is being sent to your email service provider or your email marketing company, and get you situated. All right. So the first thing that I want to start with, because it's an area where people seem to just kind of not understand, is the Zapier tags. So that's going to take place inside of Bucket. So we're going to start there. I'm going to show you kind of how the Zapier tags work, how to use them in your questions, and we'll start there. So let's jump right over real quick into Bucket. I'm just going to do it. It's the exact same. You'll do the exact same thing in both the Discover surveys and your segmentation funnels. So I'm just going to do the segmentation funnel for now, just because I have one built here, and it'll be simple for us to look at. So I'm going to just click Edit to get into the funnel. And so, like I said, this section we're going to take a look at Zapier tags, right, and the best practice, kind of how to use them. So what we're going to do, just to show you kind of what this is. This is an example for the Ryan Levesque Ask Book funnel. I know a lot of people on here have probably seen this funnel before. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this option and sending it off to the email provider, okay? So I'm going to walk you guys through what that looks like on the back end so that you make sure that the right segmentation info gets sent over to your email provider. All right, so I'm going to jump back over here to Bucket, and let's take a look at this. So what I've done here is I've opened up the first question. This is the main segmentation question, right? This is their big one: hitting goals and deadlines, knowing what's working today, getting detailed feedback on my business, etc. And so what we've done here is we've got this Zapier tag called test seg q1. All right. So the reason we called it that is this is the question that is going to be, this is the segmentation question that we're going to call inside Zapier later on, and it's the first question. So I mean, you can name these things whatever you want. What you're looking for here is just a name that you'll remember when you're inside of Zapier, because you're going to see this again, and I'll show it to you once we get into Zapier. But the big idea here is that you make it something easy to remember, because what happens is, based on the choice that your audience chooses when they're going through your segmentation funnel or your survey, that value. So like, let's say I chose hitting my goals and deadlines. Hitting my goals and deadlines is going to be sent to my email service provider through Zapier, and I'm going to configure it inside of Zapier by choosing this Zapier tag. So just a real quick show of hands, is this making sense so far? Can I get yeses if it's making sense, no's if it's not, please? Or instead of no, kind of maybe what you might not understand. Or otherwise, yeah, if it does make sense, let's get some yeses, please.
Yep, we have some yeses going on.
Cool. So that's the big idea here. And again, you can use this for every question. I'm going to hit cancel here. You can just, again, what I personally do, and I've seen others do as well, is I try to attach it to the funnel, like the segmentation funnel, like call it whatever the name of the segmentation funnel is, and then the number of the question. Others I've seen actually put the name of the question. So like instead of Q1, it might be something like test seg, which was the name of the funnel. Maybe road block, right? Just whatever best works for you. I'm going to just jump back over to this. So anyway, so that's how you set up your Zapier tags. And then again, you can do it on any question that you want to send data through. I'm actually going to delete this one because I was just kind of messing with it. All right, so let's actually, so that's the tagging. So now let's kind of jump over into connecting and setting up the Zapier. All right, so the best way to make sure that the Zap gets set up correctly is to go to integration through the configure screen and hit the integrate button. And you want to always continue with a test lead. It's the best, as far as I've found, it's the best way of doing it. And so, okay, so this, right now I'm currently logged into Zapier. If it's your first time logging in, or if you haven't created an account before, you're gonna see a screen that says log in or create an account, and then you'll see the option to where it says, let me see if I can actually, you know what? Let me do this. I want to back out of here because I am logged in. I'm going to log out so you can see what it looks like if you're not currently logged in. All right, so I'm going to jump back over here. We're going to continue with the test lead. Okay, and see where it says you've invited to use bucket.io app on Zapier. So then you can either do, if you don't have an account, you can click sign up to accept invite, or you can click login to accept invite. Okay, and so now we're in and we're going to create the Zap for this particular segmentation funnel. All right, and so now you're at the screen where you choose your new segmentation or your new discover. We're in a segmentation funnel here, so we're going to choose new segmentation. Now, if you don't already have your bucket.io account set up with Zapier, it's real simple to do. You just come back over here to Bucket. You'll click on your name at the top of the screen here, and then click on Account Settings, and then you'll scroll down to get your API key. You'll just copy that, and then jump back over to Zapier, and then just connect your account. And as you can see here, you just paste that in, click Continue, and you'll see something that looks like this. So then what we'll do here is we'll save and continue. Now we're at the screen where we're going to choose the segmentation funnel that we're going to be connecting this Zap to. So what you're going to do here, so I've got the test seg funnel, and I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to do a fetch and continue. So what's happening here is it's going back. This is why we use that test lead, because what's happening here is Zapier, just to make sure it's all legit, went back to this segmentation funnel and grabbed a test lead, make sure everything's good, and the test is successful. All right. So we're going to hit continue, and this is where you could also rename the step, right? So my first Zap with Bucket, probably not the world's best name. So we would do something to the effect of, you know, what, like here's where you would kind of put what funnel you're working in, right? So test seg funnel would be a good name for this one, right? So now I know when I'm looking at my Zaps later, which funnel belongs to, you know, which Zap belongs to which funnel. All right, now is where it gets interesting. Because now we're not just talking about Bucket, now we're going to connect Zapier to your email provider, right? And there's an infinite amount, from what I've seen, there's an infinite amount of configurations for, you know, across the board. But what we want to look at here is how to actually connect it. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of different providers just so you can see what is all available. So let's do an action step. We're going to add one now. As you can see here, we've got Active Campaign is one, Ontraport is one, we've got Infusionsoft, MailChimp, Mailgun, Zoho Mail, Aweber. Pretty much any email marketing platform that's out there will have a connection to Zapier. And like I mentioned before, they're all going to be different once you actually dive into it, but you'll simply choose your platform. Let's say it's Active Campaign, and then you'll just choose what the next step would be. So like in Active Campaign, they have it to where it's create, update, contact. Like that's adding the lead and contact information or updating an existing record inside of Active Campaign. That's what they call it. In MailChimp, it's a different wording, but if you've used the platform before, you'll understand and you should be able to recognize the language that your marketing or your email marketing company is providing you. But this is how you go about connecting the two. So what you're looking to do is create that record. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this Active Campaign account since I have it created already, just so you can see what that next screen looks like. All right, so since I've already connected my account to there, you'll see it's already been added, it's connected here. You'll do the same thing. And again, just like each platform has its different namings, they have different ways of connecting your account. So what you'll want to do is, if you're in MailChimp, you'll want to go to your help folder or help files in MailChimp and figure out how do you get an API key to communicate with Zapier. Same thing with Infusionsoft, with Aweber, with all of them. GetResponse. Again, they all have their different ways of connecting the account. And once you have the account connected, it'll look like this, right? and then we'll do a save and continue. Now, again, this is just another section that's going to look completely different. Even your active campaign will look different than mine because I have a bunch of different custom fields and things like that. So what you're looking for here, though, there's a couple things that every account is going to have that's similar, and that is an email address for sure, right? So the way that you connect the email address that was filled out from Bucket is you would come over here and click this drop down, and then you choose email. So that means the email field was filled in. That's the email that's going to go to your email address field for your email marketing provider, right? And then whatever other field. So if you asked a first name, you could choose, name, or full name, or however, whatever you want to work with. If you did a phone number, the same thing here. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting, and again, this is where the segmentation piece comes into play, right? We talked about it earlier. Where we set the? I'm going to jump back over to Bucket real quick, and come back over to the build section where we added the segmentation tag. So we've got the tag here. So what we're looking for, again, and this is where you're going to have your own best practices. But in my case here, what I did, let me jump back over to Zapier, is I've got a custom field in my active campaign that's called main segmentation. So what I would do for that field, that's where I'm looking for the tag, is I've got this test seg Q1. That's where I'm putting the segmentation question. So anytime, based on whatever someone chooses here, whether it's hitting my goals and deadlines, knowing what's really working today, that value is going here whenever the person chooses that option, right? So if someone chose knowing what's happening today, boom, that's what gets filled in on my main segmentation field. You could do it any way you want. You could add it in a tag, or you could have any other way of doing it. And then now I've got that segmentation data inside of my email service provider, in this case, ActiveCampaign. Then you continue once you have all of your stuff added in. It looks like they want me to choose a list. So I'll just do one of my lists real quick. Hit continue. Got all this stuff in. Then you'll create and continue with your Zap. And that's it. They'll run the test, and once you click finish, you can turn the Zap on and make it active. And from then on, what happens is every time a form is filled out, Zapier will come around, and each time they find a new record that's been added into Bucket, they'll send that over to your ESP, your email marketing or your email service provider, so that you can put them, and then from there, obviously, you can put them into whatever autoresponder or however you are doing your marketing inside your email system. And that's the basics. That's how you get it all configured and get it set up. So I know we kind of burned through that pretty quick. So what I want to do now is just kind of take some questions. If I moved a little bit too quickly, or if there's something maybe that you've seen while you've been trying to set it up on your own that may have either confused you, or maybe you've gotten stuck at a certain point, this would be a good time to see if there's any kind of questions that everyone's kind of having. So, Mr. Nickel, if there's anything that you see popping up in there that we could definitely get answered now, this would be a great spot to start taking those kind
Perfect.
of.
Yeah, man. So the first one question is, I use Aweber. Will I need to create custom fields in my list before setting up Zapier integrations?
Yeah, so again, this is kind of back to I mean, your own marketing best practices, like how you have Aweber set up. You can do it two ways. You can either set it up now, like before you go set it up in Zapier, or let me show you this. Edit options. Oh, wait, wrong one. Edit template. So what Zapier does, let's say you're in it and you think, oh crap, you know what? I need to change the field, or I want to add a field. So what you do here is, you see where it says refresh fields. If you've already created your funnel, and you're just in Zapier and you're just kind of adding it in, and let's say I see here website, and I'm like, no, website's not really good. It really needs, or instead of main segmentation, let's just go ahead and call it roadblock, or create a roadblock field on top of it. You could go in, create it inside of Aweber, then come back here, hit refresh fields, and you would see it then, and you could add it then. I mean, so it's not like if you've already started doing it and you want to go add a field into your Aweber, you can always come back here, go to that edit template, hit refresh fields, and then it should be in there. You should see it. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. All right, so we have a couple other questions here too. So based on each tag that I create, my leads will be added to a different list in Aweber, for example.
Okay, is this the same person?
No, it's actually a different person.
Okay, so so what you're saying is you want to add. So based on whatever someone chose, you want them to go to an entirely different list?
Maybe. Oh, yes. Yeah, the answer is yes to that.
Okay. So there's two thoughts on that. Number one is if you're marketing to, I mean, if that's how you're segmenting, then you're going to want to take a different approach, because unless they'll let you. Again, this is kind of where a one-on-one call might be better, because I haven't actually looked at Aweber. But what I'm thinking is you've got two options. Either A, you would want to, if Aweber doesn't let you dynamically replace the list here, like, so you can see on mine, where I have to choose the list that it's going into, right? And so instead of having a bunch of different lists, I would have a marketing list that says, ask book, right? So let's say, because we're selling the ask book here, right? So my campaign would be ask book, and then I would just segment the ask book campaign based on the segmentations. I would either do that with a tag, or I would do it with a custom field.
So here's a clarification on what was being asked here. I'm planning to run a segmentation bucket and have 4 different niches. And based on each niche, I will want to segment and build a different list based on that particular niche.
All right. Read me that one more time.
Yeah, no problem. I am planning to run a segmentation bucket and have 4 different niches. And based on each niche, I will want to segment and build a different list based on that particular niche.
Okay, so these are different segmentation funnels. A segmentation funnel for each niche. Is that right?
Gabriel, is that what you're asking? Let's see. We have an example coming here. Example: work from home, real estate, diet, online marketing. So are these all separate funnels, Gabriel?
It sounds like they would almost have to be, right?
Yeah, it would have to. Yeah.
Like, that would be the weirdest. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what you would do is you would just create a zap for each funnel then, if they're all going to be separate funnels creating separate lists, yeah, you would create a different funnel or a different zap for each funnel. And then you would do, like here I'm calling it test seg. I would call this one, my diet zap, right? And then you would have your work at home zap, and then you would have your whatever, and each one would connect to the different funnels over here in bucket. Because you don't want to try to. I mean, you're not, unless you're asking them right up front, which would you rather hear about? Diet, real estate, whatever on the segmentation side, is the only thing I could think of that would be,
Yeah, I think in this case maybe it would be good, Gabriel. Let's definitely, when we provide the link, I think a one-on-one would be good, so we can see exactly what's going on and kind of see what actions need to happen there. If that sounds good. And so let's go to a couple others. And yeah, here's one. Okay, so my issues, and this is kind of where we are getting into, of course, different with the different ESPs, with the third-party providers. I get all of this part. My issues all have to do with Convertkit and how to segment. I can't figure out a way to segment in any way with Convertkit. Do you know anything about Convertkit, Jeremy?
I know a little bit, and so Convertkit is really, really weird. Because and I have dealt with it. So the thing about Convertkit is they don't have the ability for you to add this kind of segmentation. Like, you can't take your tag here and do a segmentation, right? So what you have to do, instead of doing a connection to your email provider, there's another step that you have to do called filter, I believe. Yeah, I don't want to get into it on this call because it is super weird, and it is just Convertkit as far as I've seen. But this is where it comes in, right? So what you've got to do here is like only continue if test seg contains, and then it would be, like in this case, hitting my goals, right? And then what you would have to do over here in the Convertkit part is you would have to choose the tag or the form. Again, it's really weird. Here, let me see if I can. I'm going to try to. No, it won't let me because I don't have an account with them. If you understand Convertkit, you know what I'm talking about. Like, they have forms, tags, and then something else. It's not really list, I don't think. Maybe it's list. I don't know. But
and Jeremy, this is just to let you know, this is Bree. I believe you worked with them before, where the issue was resolved, but for some reason the filters aren't working. And then the add-on question is, maybe I should just go with MailChimp for this funnel.
Yeah.
So I can get this thing to work.
And that, honestly, Bree, yeah, because I'm actually taking from our conversation and then a little bit of deeper diving. And so, yeah, this is exactly where I'm coming from. It's our earlier conversations. I don't see any other way around it, and it's such a chintzy way of doing it. You're relying, in effect, on Zapier to be able to handle and understand what you're doing. And I know you've got a ton of different options, right? And so what happens is, the more options you start adding onto your bucket app, you're really relying on Zapier to make a lot of important decisions for you. And so far, at least with Convertkit, it's the only one I've seen this with, just not being able to give them this this segmentation question or value right to the email provider, that's where it starts getting screwed up. When you start relying on Zapier to do stuff like filtering, especially like multiple filtering, I think that's where the trouble starts to come in. But when you do just like if you're using, like you said, with MailChimp, you can do exactly like you can here. Go add a custom field or a tag, and then you just, that's where you put your segmentation values from any of your questions. And then you can totally break it down inside of MailChimp when you're building out your campaigns based on the tags or the fields that are filled in. So
Cool.
I think you are definitely making a smart move, just at least to get the funnel up and start collecting the data, and then perhaps down the line there will be a better way of using the Convertkit with it.
Cool. Moving on to we have another question here. It's better to use send a contact and then separate it into the automation after it gets to active campaign instead of telling Zapier to put it into automation. I think this was probably a comment based on what was going on, but yeah, does that make sense?
No, and that's absolutely true. So again, what you're looking for here is the least amount of time that you have your data at Zapier, the better, right? So if you can, because that's what Active Campaign, Mailchimp, all those list sites, like that's what they're good at. Zapier is just good at taking the data and sending it over. So the less you have them changing and filtering, the better, right? So in this case, absolutely slap a field, slap a tag on it, and then let Active Campaign. And it sounds like you know what you're talking about, anyways. You just set the rule inside of your your Active Campaign or whatever your provider is, that once the lead comes in, whatever the tag is or whatever the field is, that's when they start getting the marketing messaging. But do it there for sure.
Cool. Do we know, I think we had this question before maybe, but does Zapier work smoothly with ClickFunnels?
I think that's another one. I don't even know if ClickFunnels has a Zapier in here. There was one. Here, I'm actually let me go back because I honestly, let me just delete this. Yes, delete this. So let's do this real quick. Let's see if they have it. Yeah, no action available. So I think the thing about ClickFunnels is they only have a Zapier set up as like this trigger part. Like you can't send lead info into Bucket, obviously. You can't send it into ClickFunnels either.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think we had a similar question this morning. That's why it sounded familiar to me. And here's one for in Active Campaign when what exactly will show up as the tag value?
Exactly what you have in the field.
Cool. And here's another one. Can I integrate with get response?
Yep. Let's take a look, but I'm like 99% sure. Yes. Yep.
Sure can. All
This is
right.
Create contact, and you just add it in, and you can do the same thing inside of get response.
And then, okay, excellent. Here's another one. This is from a little bit earlier, and here's a question. What does this mean? Make sure you have at least one recent segmentation created. Make sure it matches the trigger options you picked below. Maybe just a little bit of a re-demo. And I would probably recommend, too, is a one-on-one just to make sure everything that's covered around here on this, if it's still not understood, just book a one-on-one. We can go through it more in depth, too.
Sure. And what I think I recall that verbiage from was here. I think where it says you must add. think it was. I don't remember where that was at. Honestly, I don't remember where that verbiage was. I've seen it. Like as soon as you read it off, I know where that is. But I don't remember exactly what screen that was on.
Yeah, no worries.
What was the question again? And maybe
Because I think it'd be pretty easy just to show it anyway. Make sure that you have at least one recent segmentation created. Basically, just making sure that when you go in to Zapier to create one, to create a Zap, that you actually have that segmentation created and that it matches the trigger options that you picked.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you try to choose new segmentation and you don't have a segmentation funnel built, then you're going to run into errors. This is what I thought you were talking about, where it says Zapier requires you to have one test lead or at least one lead in order to test the integration, and that's where you continue with the test lead.
Oh, maybe that was too. Maybe you can always let us know. That was Greg, right?
Yeah. So Greg, if this is what you're talking about, you've got the continue with the test lead where you just use like this basic test lead info. Where you've got the test lead inside of it. Right. Oh, wait, they do over here. Hold on. And you can just see. Hold on, I'll just get to it real quick. You can see where it has like Ryan Richards, Ryan.Richards at bucket.io. That kind of information. So this is like the test lead stuff right here. You could either do it that way or go publish your, if you wanted to say, I will activate and fill in my funnel first. So you could go in and put like your own test lead if you wanted to do it that way. But you would have to do that test lead before going and setting up your Zapier. So hopefully that makes sense.
Cool. I think that makes sense. And here we have one. If I create a funnel for 4 different sales pages based on the prospects bucket, how many Zaps are required to link each sales page to a purchase page? For instance, payment, contact info, etc.
Oh, let's run through that one more time.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me read that again too. If I create a funnel for 4 different sales pages based on the prospects bucket, how many Zaps are required to link each sales page to a purchase page?
You only need one Zap per funnel, unless of course you've got some wonky email service provider like Convertkit. I'm just kidding, Reed. But yeah, so what happens is, let's say you have, you have the one Zap, right, that handles all of your oh my goodness, I'm having a brain issue. That handles your lead capture, right? So so let's say you have your lead capture is over here. You can have multiple lead captures, or you could just have one. But each one of those, then you can have it go out to however many sales pages or outcome pages you want. So per segmentation funnel, you really only need a single Zap set up, because what you're able to do is send, and this is almost every email service provider out there. You can just either create a tag, or you can create a custom field, or some other way, and then inside of Zapier you give those fields, let's say main segmentation, or any other custom field in here, or just straight up put them all. You can put multiple ones in the tag, right? So you could do test seg Q1, and let's just other, right? So this would be, let's just say this would be test seg Q2. Let's just say, for instance. So you could add as many different tags into your ESP as you want, and then so that you can do your segmentation later, and then use Bucket to send them off to your sales page using the outcome pages. And then on each outcome page, have it link to your to your shopping cart here on the button, right, or checkout, or however you're going to do it. Does that make sense?
So then a follow-up question to that would be, so no matter how many outcome pages I have, I only need one Zap for PayPal.
That's right. You would do your PayPal stuff on the outcome page. Like this would be here. Let me just show you actually, because it's kind of like what you're talking about. This funnel. So let me I'll just discard these changes real quick. So let me do a preview real quick, just so you can see. I'll walk you through it. So yes, I want my free copy, hitting my goals and deadlines. So no matter which of those options I just chose, it's going to take me to this form where it's all going to go into Zapier, right? And I'll just put in test at bucket.io, and test, right? Hit continue, and this is the sales page for hitting your goals and deadlines. And then I come down here and I can go buy the hitting your goals and deadlines product. It's the same product, they just use kind of like a perceived difference, like perceived customization on it. But it could easily be the specific book for that specific, the specific product for that thing, right? And the same would work, if I chose the, if I chose another option, right? So let's say I chose knowing what's really working today. Do the test. Oh wait. See, so knowing what's really working today, this is a totally different product, let's say, and the same thing. You just send them off to the PayPal or Infusionsoft or whatever shopping cart you're using to take the money. But it all goes to the same Zap, this Zap right here, right? So that it's all going to go into, my whatever campaign I'm running. So the test segmentation campaign. Does that make sense? Did that kind of clear up what you were asking? Cello? Mr. Nickel, are you still there? All right, well, I will assume then that worked.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy. I was talking into the mic with the sound muted completely.
How dare you? How dare you?
I know. So, yes. Yeah, Chris was definitely saying that, yes, it was resolved. And I was telling you that, but that was a while ago. So, anyway, what I was saying into the mic a bit ago is that it looks like there's no questions, additional questions right now. But in the meantime, if anybody else comes up with any other questions that you want answered, I'm going to post this link to one of our surveys, so that we can understand exactly what's going on with you and getting Zapier, integrated with Bucket, and for you to go ahead and get to the link to sign up for a one-on-one. I posted that in the general chat room, so feel free to use that.
And this is for anybody. Like we could have totally solved your problem here, like Chris or Bree. Even though we've had calls before, you could still put that in. If there's just something, maybe you just want another pair of eyeballs on. Our number one goal here is to get you over whatever hump, whatever's maybe holding you back, because we want you to say, you know what, this thing's ready to go. I want to start getting some segmented leads. I want to start testing conversions on this thing. Our number one goal is to get you out there working on improving your conversions versus messing with, Zapier, right? Like we just want you to get over this hump so that you can go out there and start putting some people in front of your offers and running them through your funnels. Like that's what these little tutorial things are all about, and then the one-on-one calls is to get you over whatever that hump is. Even if, like you said, if it's just somebody just looking at it saying, yep, 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 looks great, everything's working, you should be good, right? So, yeah, so that's your invitation. Literally, whatever you think you might need, go ahead and jump on the schedule if there's any spots left.
Excellent. And to answer Greg, your question, the time zone of the scheduler is Central Standard Time.
Yep.
Cool. Looks like, okay, here we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, no more questions, but yeah, thank you, Chris, for sharing that. It's really, Chris is just letting us know that he hasn't even used Bucket yet, but and is just learning how to use Drip when changing from Aweber. So that's cool. We look forward to seeing what you can accomplish with Bucket.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I'm pretty sure, let's take a look. Again, 99.9% sure Drip. Yep, there it is. Same thing, create, update, subscriber. I think ActiveCampaign and Drip are a lot similar. There's just obviously some different things happening inside of Drip, but it's the same. It's the same process that we just walked through.
Excellent. And looks like this will be the last question. Yes, Chris, we will be providing a replay of this webinar. So we'll be getting that a little bit more consistent too in the near future about getting them out to everyone sooner rather than later. But yeah, it's definitely on our list. And that's it for questions.
Awesome. Guys, we really, really appreciate you for showing up on this call and hooking us up with your questions, letting us guide you through this process. We definitely appreciate you for using Bucket. And like we said, we always say, we're always here to help you. Use the K-base, or the knowledge base, I guess I should say. Here, let me get you this kind of support page up. Knowledge base, help.bucket.io. You've got the in-app messaging. You've got email support. And then, of course, you've got the link to set up a one-on-one call with one of us or a Bucket specialist. And we're happy to help. So thank you again for showing up, and we look forward to seeing you on maybe a future call. Until then, have a great night.
See you later.